Have you ever felt like you are giving absolutely everything in your relationship, but you're still just not connecting? Well, what if the answer isn't to try harder, but to see things from a totally different perspective? Okay, let's get into it. We're diving into that classic guide, John Gray's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And the whole idea is that one simple shift in how you see your partner can pretty much solve countless conflicts.
I mean, you've been there, right? You say one thing and they hear something completely different. You need a little bit of support, and instead, they offer a 5-step plan to fix it. It is so frustrating, and it really can make you feel like you're speaking two completely different languages. Well, according to this book, you pretty much are.
So the entire concept of the book kicks off with this really simple, kind of cute myth. Just imagine this for a second. Men are living on Mars, and women are on Venus. They see each other through their telescopes, fall in love across the vastness of space, and figure out a way to meet. And when they finally do, it's pure magic. They just love and celebrate how different they are.
But then they decide to come to Earth, and something about the atmosphere here, it has this really strange effect on them. They wake up one morning and boom, they've got what the book calls selective amnesia. They've completely forgotten that they come from different worlds and that they're supposed to be different. And that right there, that's the source of all the trouble. We start expecting our partners to think, feel, and act just like we do.
And this really gets to the core of it all. You see, on Mars, a man's worth was all about results, power, competence, getting things done. That's how they built their entire sense of self. But over on Venus, value was found in feelings, in relationships, connection, communication, sharing. That was everything. So you've got two completely different ways of defining your own self-worth right from the start.
So, okay, how does this actually play out in real life? Well, it brings us to one of the biggest, most common relationship conflicts, and we can understand it perfectly through these two ideas, Mr. Fix-It and the Home Improvement Committee.
Okay, so for a man, when his partner starts talking about a problem, his brain hears an invitation for expert advice. He immediately puts on his Mr. Fix-It hat, because for him, solving her problem is how he shows love and proves he's competent. But for a woman, offering unsolicited advice is a sign of caring. She becomes this one-woman home improvement committee because helping him grow feels like nurturing. The result? He feels totally criticized, and she feels completely unheard.
So here's a classic example. You've probably lived some version of this. She comes home, she's had an exhausting day, and she just wants to vent. She starts talking about how overwhelmed she is, and he just jumps in. You should quit your job. Don't worry about it. He genuinely thinks he's helping, but she just gets more and more frustrated until finally she blurts out, "Can you just listen to me for a minute?"
Now let's look at the flip side. In this version, he doesn't try to solve a single thing. He just listens. He validates what she's feeling with really simple things like, or "oh no." He offers empathy, a hug. And here's the crucial part. He gets it. He understands she's not talking for answers. She's talking to connect and feel understood. And because of that, she feels heard, she feels loved, and honestly, she feels a whole lot better.
These differences don't stop there. They pop up big time in how we handle stress, which is, another massive source of friction. Men and women tend to have completely opposite ways of coping, and the book gives them these great names: the cave and the wave.
When a guy is stressed out or upset, his instinct is to pull back. He goes into his mental cave to be alone and just think, to sort through the problem. To an outsider, he just seems quiet, distant, and totally focused on finding a solution all by himself.
Now, it is so important to understand that what's happening inside that cave is not a rejection of his partner. For him, asking for help can feel like admitting he's not competent enough. He needs to feel like he can figure it out on his own. So trying to drag him out or make him talk about it or offer help when he's in there, it totally backfires. It just makes him retreat even further.
A woman's stress response, on the other hand, is a lot more like a wave. Her emotions and her self-esteem can rise and fall. And when she's at the bottom of that cycle feeling down, all her negative feelings can just feel overwhelming, like a giant wave crashing right over her.
And for her, the only way to get through this wave is to talk about it. She needs to talk through all the feelings, all the little details, every single worry. This is her process. See, talking isn't her asking for a solution. For her, talking is the solution. It's her way of doing some emotional house cleaning. And what she needs most is a loving listener to just be there with her until that wave finally passes.
All right, now let's talk about the intimacy cycle itself, because this one is huge.
The book uses this incredible metaphor to explain a man's need for both closeness and distance, the rubber band. And I'm telling you, getting your head around this can be a total game changer.
So think of it like this. A man naturally cycles between needing intimacy and needing autonomy. After he gets really close and connected, he'll feel this instinctual urge to pull away, just like stretching a rubber band. Now, this is not a rejection. It is a necessary, natural part of his cycle. He needs that space to feel his own sense of self again. And here's the cool part. Once he's stretched to his limit, he comes springing back, often with even more energy and desire for closeness than he had before.
So if we communicate differently, handle stress differently, and have these totally different intimacy cycles, well, it only makes sense that the things that make us feel loved are also different, right? And here's where we make a huge mistake. We often give the kind of love we want to receive, not the kind our partner actually needs.
You can think of this as like a translation guide for how to show love. Men, primarily, need to feel trusted, accepted, and appreciated. They need to feel like a hero in their partner's eyes. Women, on the other hand, primarily need to feel cared for, understood, and respected. They need to feel cherished. When you finally get these different needs, it's like you've suddenly cracked the code to your partner's heart.
Okay, so we've established we're from different planets, we speak different languages, we have totally different emotional needs. So now what? What do we actually do about all this? How do we build a bridge between Mars and Venus in our everyday lives?
The key here is making small but really practical changes. For guys, practice just listening. That's it. Remember, she's talking to connect, not for a checklist of solutions. For women, practice holding back that unsolicited advice. Give him the acceptance he craves, especially if he messes up. The book even gives us some magic words. For a man heading into his cave, a simple "I will be back" provides a huge amount of reassurance. And when a man feels attacked, hearing "it's not your fault" can instantly melt his defensiveness.
And this brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. What if those things that drive you absolutely crazy about your partner, his need for distance, her emotional waves, his constant need to fix everything, what if they aren't personal flaws at all? What if it's just them speaking their native Martian or Venusian language? The goal isn't to change them into a copy of you. The goal is to get better at being a translator. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real secret to a love that actually lasts.